Here's how you visualize an interactive plotted OpenStreetMap using Pandas, Nominatum, and Plotly. The following will also show you how to visualize additional information as you hover over specific scatterplot values. For additional information, I highly suggest you read the linked documents below. Most people should be familiar with Pandas as PD as the standard data analytics module package, so I'll just be leaving a documentation in the links below for additional information. Next, I'll be importing Nominatum from geopy.geocoders. This function has a wide array of uses, but for this tutorial, I'm just going to be using it for extracting the latitude and the longitude of a string object for a city or location name. I'll start first by creating a sample data frame with a column containing strings. The first object is going to be the column's name, followed by an array of strings for popular city names. Then we take that data object and we convert it to a data frame with a pandas command. Create a geolocator object using Nominatum. This geolocator object will be used to rename your user agent. Define a function to get the latitude and longitude coordinates of a location using the geolocator.geocode function and returning the location.latitude and the location.longitude values, except in the case where if it doesn't find anything, it could return a value of none and none. Next, you're going to be applying two empty columns next to your data frame. I call them latitude and longitude because obviously so we use the lambda function on the PD series to get our coordinates and transfer them accordingly to these empty columns. Print your resulting data frame and you should see your original column followed by the latitude and the longitude columns. This logic can be applied to virtually any column containing string values that have city locations or country locations. In this next example, I'm going to be using the World Happiness Report for 2023. I'll be downloading and dragging the CSV file to my desktop and ensure that my directory is properly referenced in my local Python text script. I've declared it as a data frame using pandas, called in the geolocator object using Nominatum. I defined the function yet again for latitude and longitude coordinates of a location. Return none none, apply the coordinates function. The only difference here is that I'm calling the country name located in this Kaggle's data frame to apply that name and translate that over to our new empty latitude and longitude columns. Import plotly.express SPX. Create a figure object that calls in a scatter mapbox function and calls in our data frame, our latitude columns, and our longitude columns. Additional information is needed such as size, which declares a numeric column used to determine the size of scatter plots. I'll be using the happiness ladder score column for this. Custom data, which if you plan to have scatter plots containing multiple column sources, you'll likely be using an array to reference all the column names or values we'll be using. Color, which declares the numeric column used to determine the color intensity of the scatter plots. Again, I'll be using the happiness ladder score for this. And zoom, which sets the default canvas view of the map. The closer to 0, the more zoomed out the map will be by default. You can use figure.updateLayout function to rename your title, set up its placement within your map, its height, and set up its margin like the following. More documentation is below, especially when it comes to terms with mapbox style. In this case, I'm going to be using OpenStreetMap, but there's definitely more customization in terms of what maps you can be using. The last part involves updating traces, which basically means splitting up the custom data array from earlier using the breaks to define the hover template, and using the join function to apply this to every object in the array. Use the %bracket syntax to insert the values from the custom data array, and square brackets to refer to the specific column in the array. At this point, you can type figure.show and try and run your script to see your map. If you're using a local file like I am in this video, you should know that the script takes about a minute to fully process. This is likely because we are applying a latitude and longitude value to each string location every time we run this script. That being the case, you can likely save and should save the lat and log columns if you plan on using this for any production purpose. During this time, you can probably like and subscribe for additional explorative content such as this. So once we see the following results, you'll be able to see the resulting statistics as we hover over the plot points. You may also zoom in and out as you browse the map and verify that the generated coordinates are accurate to the location. I have a link to this same feature being done in Kaggle in the description below, and can be edited as you see fit. You'll also notice that the plots vary in size and color based on the happiness score level or ladder score. On top of that, you can see the column names used in our arrays as matrices that go along with the country provided. Based on this Kaggle study, I determined that the level of happiness is most correlated with the level of social support. You can see that Germany, for example, has a high score correlated with a higher social support score, as opposed to a place, say, like Turkey, which is a significantly lesser level of social support. The same concern can be said with Lebanon, as their social support is at a very low level at about 53%. You can use the box or lasso feature to highlight a certain spot or area in the map, and additionally, you can download the map using the top right features provided by Plotly. The cool thing about this is that at any point at which you're zooming into your map, that's where the download feature will capture. Once again, additional info is provided in Plotly's official documents, and what I showed certainly doesn't cover all that you can know about it, but at least it is enough to get someone started. Thanks and have a good one.